Today we're here with Mark and Jay from O'Shea. Hi guys, welcome to Country One-on-One.
Thank you.
Hello, Joe Thomas.
Joe, is it one-on-one or is it two-on-one?
Well, today it's two-on-one.
Is it one-on-one-on-one?
It's two-on-one. I've got to say, you guys can't see it, but Joe is wearing the most fantastic outfit, people. So just picture this. She's got the amazing purple hair. She's got a fantastic Charleston-looking purple dress with fringing and gold piping around the trim and gold necklace with a black lacy shawl. She's looking the goods. Well, I know, because I need to give everybody kind of the image here. And the most amazing sparkly purple fingernails.
Wow. Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Not to mention the purple fringe boots.
Oh, and look, her outfit is just rocking my world.
That's it. Okay, so for our viewers that don't know a lot about O'Shea, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, how you met, and just a brief your musical journey?
In 10
minutes, that's a book.
10 words or less.
This is your life, Mark O'Shea. Go.
I'm from Dalby in Queensland, and Jay's from Adelaide. We met in Sydney.
Yep.
We now live in Nashville. We have 2 babies.
Finley and August.
That's their names, yeah. They're Finley and
5 and
August.
3.
Yep, 5 and 3. And we come back to Australia as much as humanly possible. We love making music together. And
We're married. We're not brother and sister.
We're married. We're not from Georgia. The end. Here we are, and now we're playing the Brisbane Races today. So there you go.
And we met at a gig where I was hosting karaoke, and Mark was meeting with his band. At the time, he was meeting with his brand new band members, who were Sam Hawksley and Matt Bell. And Glenn Wilson.
Yes, we all met on the same night.
What an amazing band!
I know,
right?
I know.
Incredible
Very amazing.
musicians. Yeah.
Okay, so you've been in Nashville for quite some years now. So what was it that lured you away from Australia, and what was the hardest part adapting to life, like living over there compared to here?
Sure. I'll take what lured, and you can speak to the difficulty
sure.
and challenges. So what lured us away is sort of like, if you want to get better at something, you need to be in a scenario where you're surrounded by people who will elevate your musicianship and talent. You want to be able to be the worst person in the room, and so that you can learn from other folks all the time. I heard Troy Cassar-Daley say one time, punching above his weight is how he put it, and I'm going to steal that because that's kind of what we wanted to do. So we moved to LA for a little while before going down to Nashville. I'd been going there on and off for 20 years since I was 19. But it's a great town. Nashville's a beautiful place. Like aesthetically, it's a great place to raise a family. And the level of musicianship and songwriting is the best in the world. So we wanted to be a part of that community and just to learn and continue to learn, which is what we do. And contribute. We're fortunate enough to do so. So that was the reasons for going over there and the reasons why we stay.
Some of the hardest things about actually living in a different country, well, one of the hardest things for me is getting the wrong coffee every time I go through the drive-thru because they can't understand what I'm saying. So that's been a real challenge, yes. And actually having to develop a southern accent so that I get the right coffee. No, I'm just kidding. The hardest part really is just being away from family and friends. And every time we come back home, we just sort of try to fill ourselves up and get a massive dose of family and friends. And then, of course, I bawl my eyes out all the way back to Nashville because I'm leaving them again and I don't know when I'm going to be back. It's going to be months before I'll be back generally. So it's really that. Also, Australia is such a beautiful place. It has so much to offer. The music scene here is fantastic too. I love coming, Mark and I both love coming back into the country music scene here and seeing what everybody's doing, and the level is just phenomenal. Catching up with old friends that we haven't seen for a long time. So yeah, I guess I just miss the scene as well. Like I miss the scene, but all in all, it is a lovely place to raise children, and for the minute we're happy there, aren't we?
Yeah, it just comes down to population, really. There's some incredibly talented musicians and songwriters in Australia, but just if you look at do it scientifically, or mathematically I should say, there's only 24 million people in Australia. So the percentages of people who are going to be awesome is there's only going to be a handful of them, where if you move to Nashville, which is like the mecca for all of that, and there's 340 million people in America alone. So it's really a great concentration of that. So.
So you've got 3 albums. You've got Mr. and Mrs., 1+1, and Feminine and the Feast. Now, of those 3 albums, do you have a favourite album? And which song do you enjoy performing live the most?
Oh, Joe. That's so hard. That's like choosing a favourite kid.
I know, it's tough, isn't it?
It is. It's like
So
asking me which
totally
baby I love the
impossible.
most. I don't know about that because they represent different stages of our lives.
Yep.
We started out with no babies, and then we had 1 baby with the 1+1, and we had 2 babies with Feminine and the Feast. So it's sort of it's been our journey. So that's really tricky.
So does that mean there's going to be no more albums? If there's no more babies?
Well, we started out babyless,
Well,
so we
yeah,
can sort of do more.
Return to that,
Yeah, we can return to that.
I like all of them for different reasons, and there's songs on them that's the beauty about music. It depends what mood you're in, So if you want to be uplifted, there's I really like playing. I like playing and performing Parade. I don't think we've ever played that song and not left the audience a little happier.
Oh, it's great. But then they're all great. I love them all.
Oh, thank you, love.
So I like that. I really enjoy. Recently The Truth Walks Slowly, which is a very emotional
that's been
song.
very
I love
special.
playing Sorry I Was Right, which is on the new album as well. So there's 3 that are on the new album. But I also like Jay, I think, sang the shit out of Back to Me on the first record.
Yes.
Which is a song called Back to Me that I didn't
Doesn't
write.
she sing the shit out of everything?
Correct. That is correct.
Well, thanks, guys. It's making me feel really good here. There's a weird thing with one of our songs, It Never Goes Away, that I feel like we were lucky enough to do a tour with Sir Cliff Richard a little while ago, a couple of years back, and it was all these amazing, beautiful venues like the Sydney Opera House, and down in Melbourne we played Hamer Hall, and all these really beautiful shows. And I was very pregnant at the time. I think I was 7 months pregnant with
I remember that.
August.
Yeah.
And we sang, we walked out basically, nobody really knew who we were at the beginning of it, so we just had to kind of do something that was reasonably instant. And I just remember every show doing It Never Goes Away to the room and looking out and seeing people crying, like instantly crying. I thought, this song has something very special about it. It connects. And it's rare that you get a song like that. You might write 200 songs and only get one that actually connects. So I think that, for me, that's a really special song, and it came from a very honest place.
Yeah. Agreed.
Okay, so who has influenced you most through your musical career?
Can I take the lead on that? We do a little medley in our set at the moment where we basically pay tribute to a bunch of different artists who have had us either in their bands or had us open up for them, or helped our careers, in one way or another. And when we actually sat down to write that little part of our show, there were so many, weren't they? So many fantastic artists that have been so good to us over the years that we had to kind of cut it down into a...
Yeah, we'd be there all night. We'd be there all night playing like 3 hours of covers if we were just doing it.
But there are so many, there's so many people who have really helped us.
Different faith. Me personally, when I first started out, Lee Kernaghan and Keith Urban were huge influences.
Mark opened up for Keith a lot.
Yeah, a bunch of times when I was younger, and the Ranch opened up for them a bunch, and Lee as well.
And Lee.
When I was 16, 17, I was opening up for those guys. So they showed me a lot when I was younger about showmanship. I opened for Farnham a few times. That was a huge learning experience as well for me. Seeing him and how he does his thing is pretty amazing. And then I've opened up for James Rain. I opened for James about 50, 60, 70 times.
He was very good to you too.
Yeah,
He really taught
I
you
toured
a lot.
with him for a couple of years in Australia. Shannon Noel, when I was in a band called Zinc, we did about 80 shows with Shannon. Hanson, we opened up for.
Hanson,
all over America. We've opened for Darius Rucker, Phil Vassar,
from
Sarah
Beauty
Evans.
and the Blowfish to
Heaps.
Sarah Evans to
I guess little pieces of all of them.
In Excess for me was a big one
yeah,
too.
In Excess for me was
they taught me a lot, and we're friends with Andrew Farris, and we've been writing for our next record, a bunch with him, and I learned a lot from that man and from the band, and
Yeah, so I know there's a handful.
Yeah.
Handful. That's some pretty awesome talent there. Okay, so if I was to grab your phones now and put your playlist on, who would I hear?
Oh, okay, I can tell you mine. It's pretty easy. It'd be a combination of the Civil Wars, which are subsequently split up, I'm sure you know, the Civil Wars. For some reason, I love this album by Sarah Bareilles, the one that's got like Brave and Chasing the Sun and all that. I just flogged that on my phone.
It's a beautiful record.
She's a great lyricist and great singer. So it's not really my genre, but I just love it.
As I like to say, if you like it, listen to it.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, don't listen to it.
Yeah,
That's right.
That's it.
I always have a running mix of kid songs going on, because of the girls.
So the Wiggles is right up there.
Oh, love the Wiggles.
You don't play a lot of Carrie Underwood, though.
Yeah, but it's funny, they are listening to, I'm actually starting to educate them in my, major big female vocals. So I want them to hear people like Celine, Beyonce, Aretha Franklin, Ella Fitzgerald. I love Carrie Underwood. I think she's phenomenal. There's a really incredible Christian artist who I really love.
Yeah, Francesca
Battistelli. She's a pop artist.
Yeah.
The songs are just fantastic.
Yeah, she's really good.
She's so good. My girls know every song, every lyric to every song of hers. They also have just learned the whole Adele record.
Oh, no way.
Which is really funny. August sings, "Hello from the other side."
She just yells it.
She yells it from the back seat. It cracks me up every time. So, but I'm a mix. Oh, I just bought, you know what? I just bought the best of Creedence.
Oh, now that's got to be a good album.
And, I mean, just you forget how many incredible hit songs
His
they
voice.
have. And the voice and the tone and that southern rock soul. So I've been blasting that to the kids lately too. Yeah, so I've been sort of listening to a lot more soul at the moment. I think our next record is going to be probably a bit more bluesy, a bit more soulful. Oh, and I always have some of the old man's new music in there too. He just gave me Rob Hurst has just come out with a brand new record with his band Backsliders called Heathen Songbook, which I'm none too happy about. I'm wearing my cross today. Heathen Songbook. So it's all a mixed bag.
It is very mixed. So given that you've been in the music industry for so long and you know the struggles, you know how tough it is to make a buck, would you encourage your girls to head down that path, or would you try and steer them in a different direction?
Our girls, I mean, ultimately you sort of just let them make their own choices when they get a bit older.
No, they absolutely are not making their own choices. They're going to be doctors and lawyers.
If they gravitate towards it, but we're certainly not pushing them into it.
Tennis players, Jane.
Yeah, that's where the money is.
Golf.
Yeah.
Oh, Finn, golf.
There you go.
She got 3 holes in one the other day
at mini golf. At Mermaid Beach.
Yeah.
Bound to be the next Serena
Golf.
Williams.
Let them make their own choices, but it's not. We're the opposite of a stage mum, so we're kind of like certainly not forcing them to do it. So.
Awesome. Okay, so now I've just done a big sound, so I've listened to a lot of people talk about an awful lot of music industry stuff. One of the biggest things people were talking about was music streaming. So people are saying yes, it's good, people are saying no, it's bad. The one thing I took from it was that I think a lot of it is genre specific. So some fans of some genres are not really into streaming, others maybe so. What are your thoughts on music streaming? Like, are you seeing any financial benefit from it at all?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, it's just music consumption comes and goes. Before our time, or even in my time. I mean, when I grew up, I listened to vinyl records. I mean, I never bought a vinyl, but in our house we had vinyl. I think the first thing I bought was a single, so a cassette single. And so even just in my lifetime, I've lived through vinyl, cassettes, so tapes, CDs, and now like digital downloads, and now streaming. So I've lived through 4 different mediums of music, and with each one of them, the sky's been falling in the music business, and everyone's running around like, it's the end of the world as we know it. That's been the same philosophy if you look back on it, right back when recorded music actually started. Like when they first were able to record something, everybody went, oh, well, that's the end of us as musicians, because once they've recorded us, they won't want to hear us play anymore. They've got a vinyl of us or whatever. Oh, well, we're done. There's no touring anymore, and that's the end of it. Of course, that's not the case. So I don't think it's as doom and gloom as what everybody thinks it might be.
Yep.
The one point I will throw into the mix is, and I'm a songwriter, as is Jay, so I'm certainly all for songwriters' rights, believe me, because we're underpaid as it is. But one of the big misconceptions I see all the time on social media is that somebody holds up a royalty statement from Spotify or Pandora, and it says, you know, $1.50 for, you know, 500,000 streams or whatever it is, you know, something like that, you know, and everyone goes, oh, how can this be, you know, 500,000 streams, I only made $1 or whatever it was. And they often compare that to terrestrial radio, to traditional radio. But what that really is it's one impression, not one play, and they get them confused a lot, because essentially if a radio station has a listenership of, say, let's just talk in America for a second, a country radio station has a listenership of 1 million people, and they play the song one time, let's just assume for argument's sake that all 1 million of those people are listening. So that is one stream, if you will, right? That's one play, but it went to 1 million people. Whereas over here, streams, there's only one person per stream. So if you see that says 500,000 streams, it's really 500,000 people hearing a song once. So you have to compare apples to apples when you talk about what terrestrial radio pays to a songwriter versus what a streaming site pays. And I think people lose sight of that. They see and they go, oh, I had 500,000 plays. But no, you didn't. You had one play to 500,000 people, which if you compare that to our radio station scenario we were just talking about, that's only half the audience. Of that thing, you know, so you got to kind of compare apples to apples. I think people get a little carried away and they lose sight of that.
Yeah. Okay, so do you think there's room in Australia for more country music festivals?
I want 100. You know, bring it on. But no, that's a good question. How many have we got at the moment? How many are there?
Well, Master, CMC, Tamworth.
Yeah, look, we'll miss some out if we sit here and try to listen more. But
10.
You know, as long as they're not directly competing at the same time, and they're in different territories, like they're in different states, you know, around Australia and all that kind of stuff, I think, you know, there's room for more.
I think the community's got to get involved with those things. Like, there's no point saying to, oh, hey Toowoomba, we're going to put on a country music festival and not engage any of the local community. I think the townships have to take ownership of that and become part of it. And maybe the festival has to raise some money to do something good in the town or have some other component to it. So
have
I think
a charity attached to it.
I think it's a community spirit that really drives festivals. Gympie is a great example. And, you know, people go there for Gympie. You know.
Okay, so just a couple of quick fun questions.
Yep.
So you spoke before about the first single you bought. So what was the first cassette that you bought?
It was called Don't Call Me Dude by a band called Scatterbrain. It was a heavy metal band. They had one hit.
I reckon mine was 1999 by Prince.
Oh, now that's a good one. I'm liking that one.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't even remember what mine was. It was probably MJ or Madonna or maybe even Culture Club. Yes, probably. Oh, I know, and I missed it because I was in Nashville. Okay, so if you could share one fun fact about each other that the audience doesn't know, what would it be?
Fun facts. Okay.
Mark is really bad at putting his laundry in the laundry basket. So he will
Put it on the floor beside
drop trowel literally next to the laundry basket, and I have to pick up literally a stone throw away, and I'll put it in pretty much every day.
Jay loves throw pillows and has them all over the bed daily. Massive pain in the ass. I don't understand them.
Mark hates them. Hates throw pillows.
Well, I have something on there if you remove
Mark, I don't like them either.
There you go.
But okay, so if you could have a dinner party and have 3 people over, who would those 3 people be?
Dead or alive? Could they be like people who are?
I would have Bill Maher, who's a comedian talk show host in America. I would have a guy called Darren Brown, who is a magician who specialises in mental, telepathy and stuff.
Oh,
yeah, crazy guy. If you ever check it, Darren Brown, he has a show called Mind Games. He's a British fella. I'd have those 2, and oh man, if you could roll all my family into one person, I'd have them come too.
That's really hard, Joe. Maybe Dolly. have Dolly. She's incredible.
She's amazing.
She's so smart.
Yeah.
Maybe someone like Ellen.
Yes.
And Donald Trump. Like just throw him into the mix with Ellen. You know what I mean? I reckon that would be really
Why?
funny.
Just so you can like sit back and watch the fireworks?
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, just because I just think it would be. I just want Ellen to attack.
Are you a Donald Trump supporter? Like?
No, hell no. I'm absolutely not a
cool.
Donald Trump supporter. And then maybe someone like Oprah Winfrey.
Yeah, that's a pretty good mix.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good mix. Okay, so the most important question that we all want to know, and you've already touched on it very briefly, is when can we expect some new music from O'Shea?
Yeah, next year, definitely. Next
Yeah.
year. We've started writing.
We're working on it now.
We've written a bunch of songs. Half of them are terrible, and half of them are good. So we're nutting it down. We've got about 5 or 6 that we feel really strongly about. And so we've just got to flesh it out a little bit more and then get to work recording. So next year.
Very good. Awesome. Well, thanks so much, guys, for doing the interview with me. And for our listeners, you've been listening to Joe Thomas from All About Country Music Promotions, and this has been Country 2-on-1 today. You can find out more details from our website at allaboutcmp.com. Thanks so much.